All right. So the first one I want to talk about today is perfectionism. How many of you have ever identified yourself or someone else you know as a perfectionist, right? In our society, often perfectionism is celebrated. It's often oh yeah, I'm a perfectionist. I like to get things just perfect, just right. Can you relate to that? Let me know in the comments if you can actually relate to that. Is it something that either you have said or someone you know, love, someone in your circle is a perfectionist? And, society perceives it as a very positive thing, that they just like to have things just so. Well, you know, perfectionism is actually rooted in fear. That is the root of perfectionism. It is being scared of something. It's a fear-based reaction. And it's a visceral response that happens just to your body. It's just something that biologically happens to your body, to a situation that you may not even be aware of. You may deem it as fearful or scary, or it creates a nervous feeling in you, and it actually triggers that self-sabotaging behavior of perfectionism. So we know that fear and being scared of something from time to time can just stop you dead in your tracks, right? We know that fear is a real thing. And for some of us, it may show up as not attempting to do something, or not putting our full effort into something, or maybe we avoid it altogether, or we choose, that's not for me. No, I'm not interested. That is that perfectionism, fear piece taking over. And it is often a fear of looking bad or failure. Can you relate to that? I know I have been known to be a little bit of a perfectionist from time to time. And I know that it's based in the fear base of who I am, of looking bad, or making a fool of yourself, or maybe somebody who doesn't like you, or they won't like you if you do this. So it's holding yourself back for the fear of it not being perfect and polished. Is this making sense? Are you assimilating this right now into something that perhaps you've done, or have, or someone you know has done? So it really is an avoidance tactic. Perfectionism is an avoidance tactic, a self-sabotaging choice that you are doing so that you are not putting yourself in a position of embarrassment or fear or ridicule. Okay. Now, another way to look at it is sometimes people will often say, "Oh, you know what? I didn't do that. I didn't bother." It's like, whatever. I don't need to do that. And where that actually comes from is, it is easier to say you didn't try or you didn't attempt to do something than to actually do it and maybe not be as successful as you hoped. Maybe you failed a little bit, or it wasn't as perfect as you had hoped it would be. So when you say to situations, even if it's just in your head, when you say to situations, "Oh, I'm not really interested in that," but you are. Or you'll say to somebody, "Oh, well, you know what? I really didn't put a lot of effort into this project or this report or this planning of this meeting, like I didn't have a lot of time. I didn't put a lot into it." That is you setting up the excuse, prepping the excuse to be ready for it not to be perfect, because you're fearful that if you actually put in the effort, if you actually put in the time and did your best, or challenged yourself and said things and did things drawing from your skill sets that maybe were a little, polarizing to a situation, and somebody was like, "Whoa, what's this about?" That is you presetting up the situation so that you can say, "Well, I didn't give it my best shot." You are protecting yourself based on the fear. So I challenge you to think about this, okay? Failure at its core is no different than success. It is simply just a result. Failure, success are results. That's all they are. Yes, they have different outcomes, but if you have a failure or if you have a success, all they are outcomes. It's a result. That's all. So a result, if we look at it as a result or an outcome, it can be measured and it can be evaluated. So results and outcomes, whether they're successful or failure-like, are a metric. They can be measured. They can be evaluated around and made pivots with. So you can evaluate a result, whether it's positive or negative, and from it, create metrics, create, KPIs. You can create, systems or ideas around how to shift it, change it, transform it. And that's what I'm challenging you with right now. Think of failure as just an outcome, one that maybe sucked a little bit, one that you didn't want necessarily, but it's no different than the outcome of success. It just presents and looks differently. So it is something that you can measure and change and evaluate and grow from. All right. So I know that may be like, like, come on, Trace, like, if I fail at something, it really, really sucks. Well, yes, it absolutely can. I'm not denying that. But it's also a marker that you can grow and evaluate and change from and do differently next time. So failure helps you identify, it helps you evaluate, and it helps you measure the result. Just like success, you measure the result so that you can create a pivot and you can decide what you should do more of and decide what you should do less of.